Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Mark, the 7th chapter. Then came together unto him the Pharisees and certain of the scribes, which came from Jerusalem. And when they saw some of his disciples eat bread with defiled, that is to say, with unwashed hands, they found fault. Meaning that they didn't wash their hands, after like the ceremonial hand washing that they used to do, all right, as the tradition was, as it says here. For the Pharisees and all the Jews, except they wash their hands oft, eat not, holding the tradition of the elders. And when you read this here in let's see. Wonder why they didn't have that reference here. But in the book of Luke and in Matthew, they mention how it's like a ceremony. It's a way of washing your hands that the disciples didn't do it that way, and so they had a problem with it. Verse 4, and when they come from the market, except they wash, they eat not. And many other things there be, which they have received to hold, as the washing of cups and pots, brazen vessels, and of tables. This was a part of their, once again, the tradition of the elders. And this is things that they they would uphold, being the Pharisees here. Then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, why walk not thy disciples according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? He answered and said unto them, well hath Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites. As it is written, this people honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Meaning that, in words, or in pretense, you seem to honor the Lord, but your actions and your mind is really actually far from serving the Lord. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines and commandments of men. See, going back to their traditions. For laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups and many other such the like do ye, or like things ye do. So they were putting more emphasis and importance on the tradition or on their traditions than the commandment of God. And he's going to go into an example, Yahweh Shai, that is explaining what he means. And he said unto them, full well ye reject the commandment of God, that ye may keep your own tradition. See, so at the expense of keeping the commandments, you hold your own traditions above that. For Moses had said, honor thy father and thy mother, and whoso curseth father or mother, let him die to death. And the honor here is more than just respecting and but it goes into providing for them, right? Whether it's money or a gift or whatever the case is, but providing for them and taking care of them. And their tradition here was a way to bypass that. Verse 11, but ye say, if a man say to his father or mother, it is Corban, that is to say, a gift, by whatsoever thou mightest be profited of me, he shall be free, meaning he would be free from that law, right, in having to do it. And that's basically saying, well, let's read verse 12. And ye suffer him no more to do aught for his father or mother. So somebody can just say, oh, what I was going to give you is actually a gift for the Lord, right? It's a gift that I've reserved to offer, in the temple or to the Lord. And so I can't give it to you. And because it's a gift for the Lord, then they would say, okay, that's fine. So people would use that as a loophole not to actually, as it says, do aught for his father or mother, making the word of God of none effect through your tradition, which ye have delivered, and many such like things do ye. So it wasn't just this, right? There were many other similar things that they would do, poking loopholes into the law to avoid having to do certain things. And when he had called all the people unto him, he said unto them, Hearken unto me, every one of you, and understand. There is nothing from without a man that entering into him can defile him. But the things which come out of him, those are they which defile the man. If any man have ears to hear, let him hear. And he's going to explain this, what he means by this later on. And when he was entered into the house from the people, his disciples asked him concerning the parable. And he saith unto them, Are ye so without understanding also? So are you also lacking understanding, that you didn't understand this? Do ye not perceive that whatsoever thing from without entering into the man, so anything that's going from outside into a man, like something you're eating, it cannot defile him, because it entereth not into his heart. It doesn't, when you eat food, the food doesn't go into your mind, right? But into the belly, and goeth out into the draught, which is the waste, purging all meats, right? Your body consumes the food, it digests it, it takes out the nutrients and the beneficial parts, and then the rest comes out as waste. And he said that that which cometh out of the man, that defileth the man. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile the man. Those are the things that corrupt you. Those are the things that make you unclean, that make you sinful, that make you wicked. Not what is going into your mind. If you eat lamb, or if you eat beef, right, or chicken, it's not gonna make you defiled, right? But because it's not going into your mind, it's going into your body, and then coming out as waste. But the things that come out from you come from your mind, right, and proceed forth through your mouth and your actions. And those are the things that, if you're not careful, will defile you. And from thence he arose and went into the borders of Tyre and Sidon, and entered into an house, and would have no man know it, but he could not be hid. So he tried to keep it secret, but the second word got out that he was there, you already know the crowd started to form. For a certain woman whose young daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him, and came and fell at his feet. This woman was an Israelite. Okay, it says here she was a Greek, a Syrophoenician by nation, and what that means is she was an Israelite. Okay, but she was practicing those customs. And remember that when you go back to the time of Alexander, a part of his agenda in conquering the known world was Pan-Hellenism, right? Pan meaning all, and Hellen meaning Greek. And that's why after that time, the lingua franca, or the language of the world, became Greek. Okay, and so did the customs. So you had certain Israelites that were in different parts, including these areas, right? Tyre, Sidon, different areas where you had Israelites, and some knew they were Israelites, and some didn't, and some did, but they were practicing or living like the Greeks, or like the heathens around about them. So when you go into the time of the New Testament, especially during post Yahushai's time, right, and the ministry spreading, the time of the Acts, and the missionary journeys of the Apostle Paul, a lot of those Gentiles that are mentioned as gaining salvation are really Israelites. Okay, and a lot of people don't understand that. It goes over their head, and so they get they begin to misconstrue the scriptures. So as it says here, a Syrophoenician by nation, and let's go into that word. It says here, the name of a mixed nation, half Phoenicians, half Syrians, but it's really where she was dwelling. Okay, but she wasn't a native heathen. She was an Israelite. And when you read this, the same account is also mentioned in the book of Matthew and in the book of Luke. But mainly, as it says, I believe in the book of Matthew, when it mentions it, Yahushua told her that he was not, and here he was just testing her. Okay, he was testing her faith and her humility, and that's why he treated her as such. Now, he said in the book of Matthew, right, when she asked for that healing, he mentioned that he was not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel, i.e., he was only sent to Israel. But yet, he turns around and heals her daughter. Okay, so why heal her if she wasn't an Israelite and he was sent only to Israel? Then that would be going back on what he was, his mission. So as it says here, but Yahushua, continuing, the woman was a Greek, a Syrophoenician by nation. Let's actually also go into that word Greek. See what it says here. Hellenis, a Greek woman, a Gentile woman, not a Jewish, which is wrong. Okay, because she was an Israelite. And she besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter. But Yahushua said unto her, let the children first be filled, for it is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it onto the dogs. So he basically called her a dog when he said that. And once again, that was to humble her, but really to test her faith. So what would she do? How would she react, given this situation? And she answered and said unto him, yes, Lord, yet the dogs under the table eat of the children's crumbs. And he said unto her, for this saying, go thy way, the devil is gone out of thy daughter. So he, in saying that, she still showed forth that faith in him, right? That, yeah, regardless, of what my status may be, I still believe that you can do this, right? And that's why she's still here, adamantly seeking his help. And when she was come to her house, and I believe also in the book of John, the 4th chapter, the Lord mentions, and the woman he was speaking to there, the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman at the well, which actually was a heathen, when he was speaking to her, he told her, right, that the time is coming when neither here in this mount nor at Jerusalem will you basically come and serve the Lord, because the Lord, it's really for the Jews, right, or for the Israelites to serve the Lord. So he made a distinction over there. So it doesn't make sense that here he would heal or adhere to the needs of a heathen woman, but then there at the woman, he would say that to the woman at the well, right, at the Samaritan woman at the well. And when she was come to her house, she found the devil gone out, and her daughter laid upon the bed. And again, departing from the coast of Tyre and Sidon, he came onto the Sea of Galilee, through the midst of the coast of Decapolis. And they bring unto him one that was deaf, and had an impediment in his speech. And they beseech him to put his hands on him. And he took him aside from the multitude, and put his fingers into his ears, and he spit and touched his tongue. And looking up to heaven, he sighed, and saith unto him, Ephphatha, that is, be opened. And straightway his ears were opened, and the string of his tongue was loosed, and he spake plain. So he was able to speak regularly again. And he charged them that they should tell no man. But the more he charged them, the more he could constrain them not to say anything, so much the more a great deal they published, meaning they made it public. There's no way they were going to turn around and keep the secret. What happened? Your son that was deaf and could barely speak is now talking. Oh, yeah, he just woke up one day and he was good. No. And this is how and why, wherever he would go, before he would even be able to settle down, the crowds were already forming. Oh, yeah, how was I? Oh, shoot. Yeah. And were beyond measure astonished, saying, he hath done all things well. He maketh both the deaf to hear and the dumb to speak. And that brings us to the end of the book of Mark, the 7th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rechak Wadash. And until next time, Shalom.